Yes, that's right, James. It is all action at the moment. We found her again. Managed to, we drove quite a way around. Luckily, we recognized the trees in the area, and we thought, let's have a look here. And she's curled up on top of a termite mound, quite well hidden, but she's warming up in the sun. I don't see any sign of the cubs at the moment. She may have left them somewhere. They could be hiding it's very thick around here. They could be hiding, but she may have left them in a drainage line while she is making her way around, potentially looking for food. But now she's resting beautifully on this termite mound. So exciting. St. James has got cheetah on cheetah plains. There's lions about. It's all happening. Beautiful, beautiful face. James is rushing to try and find some cheetah for you. As soon as I get any word that he has got them, we'll cross over to him, just so you can hopefully get a view of those cheetah too. And then we can definitely see, you'll be able to see the difference between the cheetah and the leopard, how different they look. It's always nice to see a live animal to tell the difference between the two. Trump's buffoon has asked us, how do the cubs stay so well hidden? Does she communicate with them and tell them to stay in a specific area? Yes, she definitely does. It's amazing. The communication between leopards or any adult and the young is incredible. Lionesses do the same if they are at a den site, and they will give a contact call or a certain call to tell the cubs to stay, and they stay in that area. They do not move. Same with these leopard. So leopard will move around, once they give birth, they'll have a den site, and those cubs know to stay at that den site until the female returns. Those beautiful paws. She's got her paws tucked in, trying to keep them warm. And the leopards will give a call, a contact call. And I also think, we don't really understand the communication that well, but I've seen it where they're walking with their cubs and she gives a certain call and she walks into an area, and then as she walks out, the cubs don't follow anymore. They stay right there. So they know. Look at those beautiful rosettes that I spoke about. Beautiful markings and the pattern on a leopard. So the cubs know to stay in that area. They will not move until that female returns. Oh, this is so special. This is amazing. Go ahead, Lex. Okay, copy. Lex, still with Karula. She's come down a little bit, but still in that same area that you left her in, around that termite mound. She's just lying down at the moment. No sign of the youngsters. So Lex was just telling me that he found where the kudu and the impala were alarm calling, but he can't see anything around there. Potentially another leopard that was moving through the area. But it's not always that easy. They'll alarm call those antelope soon. Sorry, I'm just getting an update from Lex. Okay, copy, Lex. Thank you. So as I was saying, so Lex was just telling me where those alarm calls were coming from exactly. But as I was saying, when these animals do get alarm called at, they'll try and move out of the area because they know, and especially with leopard, if antelope like impala or kudu start alarm calling, it draws a lot of attention to them. And they don't like that attention. They don't like potentially hyenas trying to follow them, because hyenas will be alerted. They'll come and have a look, see if there's a potential kill they can steal. So they generally try and move out of that area very, very quickly if they are being alarm called at. It sounds like James has just found the cheetah. Cross over and see what they are up to.
Well, everybody, look at that beautiful, beautiful, beautiful sighting. 2 male cheetah, our male friends. Unfortunately, they seem to be about to head off into Mala Mala, which is a bit sad, but we're just going to have a quick view of them. What a joy to have these cats, Karula and her cubs, over the last little while. We have truly been blessed beyond it. We are so lucky. Just move along here. I'm pretty sure the other one will get up and come across as well. Now we can only be on the boundary. This is the kind of end of when we're going to be able to see them. Isn't that wonderful? Unfortunately, that's going into Mala Mala, but that's okay. They look very fat. They look like they've had an exceptionally good meal. Stunning stuff. Fantastic. So they are, for those of you who don't know, everybody, we're not going to be able to see them again once they've got into Mala Mala. This is fantastic. James, Richard, you say, considering cheetah have such an incredibly low genetic diversity, you say, are they likely to be more susceptible to diseases? Definitely. Absolutely. To some extent. But at the same time, although they are probably susceptible to more diseases, everyone, they are pretty resilient. And you know, the big legend you'll hear is that cheetah are all descended from one female. You know, their genetic diversity is so low that they're probably all descended from one female. Now, I'm not convinced that that's true. I don't know. I mean, they can pretty accurately tell, I suppose, from sort of genetic studies. But whether that's, you know, how susceptible to disease that makes them, or if it's actually true or not, I don't know. But I think it's become one of these things that is quoted by guides all over the world now, simply because, you know, I'm not sure how thoroughly it's been investigated. But they do have a lower genetic diversity, and apparently you can do a skin graft from any cheetah anywhere in the world and it will take, and that's because the genetics of them are pretty low. The pool is shallow. Very nice. They're just marking territory. And the territory, of course, of a cheetah is temporary. It's not it doesn't stick in an area like a leopard or a lion territory, because their distribution is almost solely based on their ability to avoid other predators. So we are very, very lucky, everyone. Cubs, leopard, and magnificent cheetah. This is a rare treat, and for those of you who are perhaps new viewers, you know we don't see cheetah very often at all. It's not common for us to view them like this. And simply because there are not that many around, the habitat is not ideal for them. Oh, I got a picture there, if you can believe it, Liam, but I did miss his feet, unfortunately. He was sort of in focus. It's almost in focus. Everybody, I am the world's slowest and possibly most useless photographer. Yeah, no, it's a disaster. I'll show you the picture a bit later. VM, of course, will derive enormous amusement from it. And I think one of them, although they're probably brothers, and although you'll be told that there isn't a great deal of kind of dominance between the two, it would seem to me that one of them always follows the other. So this chap, you can see, is basically doing what his brother's doing. He's marking on the same trees and marking in the same places, but well behind. Let's just see if we can't get a last view of them. And they're just lying on the boundary there. Let me try and get a bit of height so we can see on top of them. I fear me the super zoom camera would have been a better option here. Perfect light. Oh, gorgeous morning. I think this is going to be a 2. Well, we've still got them there, everyone. Beautiful. Yeah, I'm afraid that's going to be the best view we have of them. They'll probably lurk there for a little while. It's still quite cool, so I suspect they'll move. I'm 95% sure they won't be doing any hunting, simply because they are very full already. You could see their bellies swollen and hanging. So I don't think there's going to be much in the way of hunting today. Now, Richard, you want to know if the territory of a lion and a cheetah overlaps. They do overlap, Richard. They must overlap. And they overlap for a very good reason, and that is that they eat different things. They occupy a different niche. And although there is overlap in what they eat, they occupy a different niche. And so there is overlap, but cheetah will avoid lions at all costs. Their distribution is often, and quite interestingly, is normally dictated by the distribution of male lions. Now, only about a quarter of a mile from here, there are 3 male lions feeding on a buffalo carcass. So in this particular case, it doesn't seem to have made a huge difference. There's a very amusing vehicle next to us. And Velma, you're wondering about how they're going to mate. Are they going to find females? Will they leave their territory to go and find females? Yes, I suppose they might. But I think you'll find more it's a case of females actually seeking them out. So often that happens with the cats, where the female will seek out the male, and she will lie down, or she will come and mark in an area. And what happens is there is a female that moves through this area. She'll mark her territory here, and if she's coming into estrus, that will leave a certain amount of pheromone in the urine. They'll pick that up, and they will then try and find her. Beautiful afternoon, at least morning. I think they'll probably get up again and move off to the south. And we'll try and go to those lions as well at some stage. I think there was such a mad rush for the lions and for the cheetah that people who were in the lion sighting came screaming out to have a look at these chaps. Now they've gone back to the lions. So I think we'll just stand by and enjoy this. And then perhaps we'll go to the lions. Not sure what Karula's story is at the moment. There you can see they're getting up and moving now. It's completely opposite to what I said initially. I initially said that I thought that male that's been left behind here was the one who was leading the charge, and I don't think that is the case anymore. You can see they look almost identical, and we don't spend enough time around them to really be able to see the difference. Anyway, everybody, I think that's going to be it. A Twitter handle from someone called Trump's Buffoon here. I'm going to hope deeply that's a facetious Twitter handle. You say, do cheetah kill cubs in the same way that lions do? Do they engage in infanticide? Trump's Buffoon, they do. Probably not as much, but unrelated male mammals of just about any species will kill unrelated youngsters. It's one of the driving forces, actually, of mammal evolution and mammal social structure evolution. It's quite an interesting thing. Lions, obviously, the most obvious example. These guys, of course, if they do father youngsters, are highly unlikely that their cubs will come across an unrelated male. But an unrelated male could well kill them. The leading cause of leopard cub death, unrelated male leopards. A huge part of cheetah social structure is a huge part of chimpanzee social structure, for example, is infanticide, and certainly one of the big drivers in their sociology. Now, a wonderful, warm, low-felt welcome to a Rodine School for Young Girls. All of you in grade 1, Madam Creel and Madam McConnell. Hello, Madam McConnell and Madam Creel. I hope you're all having a lovely, chilly Joburg morning. I hope it's not too cold for you there. It's pretty chilly here, but it's not nearly as cold as it is there for you. We've just had 2 cheetah there. Unfortunately, they've crossed south of our boundary, so let's just look at those cheetah quickly. My name is James, and on the camera today is VM, and also going to be taking you around a little bit for the next hour or so is Byron, and Byron's a very good friend of mine. And you know what? Byron and I both went to school not too far from where you went to school. I was just across the road, and Byron a little bit further up the ridge. So we know that area where you are very well. See the cheetah? Beautiful, beautiful special cats. We're so lucky to see them, and I don't think they look very big from where you're sitting, but they're very tall, you know. They'll probably stand at the shoulders, that's the top of their backs, about as tall as your shoulders, and that's a pretty big animal. It probably weighs as much as a full-grown man. So big cats. And of course the cheetah, as everybody knows, or if you don't, you will now, is the fastest land mammal in the world. You know how fast they can run? They can run at 100 kilometers per hour. That's the same speed as you and your dad drive along the highway. That's an amazing speed, but they can't run for very, very far. So if you have any questions at all, if you want to ask me or Byron anything about the things that we're seeing, please feel free to ask us questions. We'd love to hear from you. Now, my friend Byron from One Cheetah, now you can ask him the difference between a cheetah and a leopard. He's got a beautiful female leopard to show you.
Yes, James, everything's going on at the moment. We're still with this beautiful female leopard. I think this is going to be our last glimpse of her. She's moving off through the thicket, but we have spent quite a bit of time with her. It was lovely to see the cubs this morning. Good morning to Rodine and Madam O'Connell and Madam Creel and their class of grade 1s. Lovely to have you with us this morning. So glad you joined us just in time to get a glimpse of this leopard. There the birds are alarm calling at her, rattling testiculars, and she's raised her tail so that she can show them that she's not a threat. She's trying to just move through the area. So I think that is the last glimpse we're going to see of that leopard. So for the new Rodine girls, my name is Byron and we have Brian on camera with me this morning. It's great to have you with us. And the thumb. So I was speaking about the alarm calling. Now that is a distress call or an alarm call that animals give to warn each other that there's a predator in that area. So in this occasion, the birds are alarm calling to warn potentially each other or other animals that there's a predator moving through here. Now, even though those birds are in no danger from the leopard, they still alarm call because it is pure instinct. They want to warn everyone that there's a predator around. This morning early, we got to see Karula, this female leopard, with her 2 little cubs. We saw them quite briefly. She was moving them. Yesterday they had a kill. She was feeding on a daycare and they got to eat. All of them got to eat, which was great. But during the course of the evening, she lost the kill. I think what may have happened is while she was feeding or while one of the cubs was feeding, they knocked it out of the tree and I think hyena came and stole it. So this morning she was moving them into a safer area away from the area where all the hyena activity is. And what she did then was, it looks like she has hidden them in this beautiful, there's a little drainage line you can't see, but just behind us and further back where was the last time we saw them. And I think she's hidden the cubs in there and she's heading off now potentially to go and try and hunt again to provide food for those little cubs. Really glad you got to see her though. So it's all been happening this morning. We've had cheetah, we've had leopard with cubs. It's been a fantastic, fantastic morning. We're going to move out of this area now, see what else we can find. Look where we're going. There's been a lot of alarm calling in this area from other animals too. We just heard impala and they give a very distinct alarm call. It's a sound, it sounds like a snort, like a oh, my alarm call is terrible. Brian's laughing at me. It's like a nasal snort and it's a very strange sound. But what they do is if they see a predator, they will alarm call and make a noise to warn each other and say there's danger around, you must be careful. And then they hopefully will move away without the predator, or the leopard in this case, hunting them. But also we want the leopards to eat. So it's a give and take situation. So Jamie has asked us, how many animals do we see every day? So Jamie, it all depends. It depends on how lucky we are with driving through the bush, because sometimes you can drive through the bush and go on a game drive and see very, very little animal movement, but you enjoy the other little things that you might see, or just enjoy the sounds and the smells in the bush. Some days we see a lot, like yesterday. James and I saw lots on game drive. We saw wild dog, we saw leopard, we saw lions, we saw elephant, we saw buffalo. So there was a lot going on yesterday. This morning we've been very lucky too. We've seen leopard, we've seen impala, we've seen elephant. James has seen the cheetah. So there's a lot that we do see while we're out on our safaris or on our game drives. But it all depends. It all depends. You can never predict what you're going to see. But Jamie, sometimes we see lots of animals and sometimes we don't see too much. But that's what makes it so exciting, is we don't know what we are going to see. Oh dear, it sounds like James is having a lot of luck this morning. So I'm going to carry on checking around this area, maybe see if that leopard doesn't come out again. But James has got something else, another predator that he wants to show you.
Well, look at that, everybody. We've got a whole lot of lions. 3 female lions and a big male lion. And in the background, you can probably hear some elephants shouting. And I'm whispering because when you're in the wilderness like this, you want to be very quiet so you can hear what's going on around you. So these 3 lions have killed a buffalo. So it wasn't a very good day yesterday for that buffalo, unfortunately. But the lions have to eat. And we know that they're the greatest carnivores in Africa, and they have to eat meat. So that's what they're doing. And then the male lion, he's the one with the lots of hair on him. He isn't eating at the moment because he's so full and fat that he can't think about eating any more meat. And if you look carefully, you can see the female is also very fat. See that big fat belly? She's so full because she's been eating so much meat. Now that buffalo probably weighed about 400 kilograms. Now most of you probably don't weigh more than 25 kilograms. So that is more than 20 times your size. So they are very big animals, and the lions are very big as well. Those lions are about twice the size of those 2 cheetah we just saw. Huge. So I know many of you have been to the Kruger Park and many of you have seen lions like this. But they really are very, very big. Look at the eyes looking at us. Now a very interesting question from Karula. Karula, you want to know when the cheetahs are going to eat their prey. I don't think they're going to eat today, Karula. You can see they were very fat. And they probably hunted yesterday. They hunted during the daytime. The lions, of course, we know hunted during the night time. And they killed this buffalo, not yesterday, but the day before that. So the cheetah probably won't be eating today. Now we've got something else we can show you. But let's just watch these, see what they do. Now you see how well camouflaged they are. We discussed yesterday the concept of camouflage with the great noughts. And camouflage is the colour that the lions are that makes them very difficult to see. Now where are they going? I don't know where they're going. They might want some water, but water is, I know, the other way. Maybe they're just full and they've had enough to eat. Who knows? Let's watch the male, see what he does. And Lily, you ask a very good question. You say, well, the lions eat the buffalo's head. Yes, they will. They'll eat most of it. You can see them, the front of the buffalo's head. Now, I know this is a bit disgusting for some of you, everybody, but don't worry about it. That buffalo, of course, doesn't feel anything anymore. It is long gone. There's a soft bit around the nose there that the lions will eat. They will probably eat most of the neck, and so they'll eat the nose, but I don't think that they're going to eat the rest of the skull. The skull, remember, is the head bone, and the head bone is very hard, and only maybe a hyena will be strong enough to get into the head bone and bite it. Look how big he is. He's a massive animal. He's marking his territory now. That's how animals mark their territory. They rub their heads, and now he'll spray. He had a little bit of a spray of urine. Let's go backwards and see if we can spot the others. They've just gone to sleep there. Eva, hello to you. You want to know how long the lions will stay with the buffalo. They'll eat the buffalo until it's finished, you know, Eva. And sometimes it can smell so disgusting that you couldn't believe that any animal would want to eat a buffalo that smelt so very disgusting. But lions don't care, you know. They really don't care at all what it smells like. They're very happy to eat the most smelly thing in the world. Something that you and I wouldn't even look at, let alone think about eating. These lions will eat. Let's just ease up here. And we'll just watch where the lion's going. There's a female's coming past the front of the car. Hello, Pia. You want to know why dad lions have got lots of fur around their heads? Well, it's like a beard. You know that your dad's got a beard. He probably shaves his beard off, but if he didn't shave it, then he would have a very long beard, and you know that your mother doesn't have a beard. And it's the same thing with lions and lionesses. Lionesses don't have a big beard. The males do have a big beard. But that big beard of the male lions, everybody, is probably there to protect his neck, because male lions like to fight. They fight often. And that beard, that huge mane, it's called a mane, huge mane helps them to avoid hurting themselves when they're fighting. I think we should follow him. Let's leave the lionesses to their smelly breakfast, and let's follow the male lion down through the bushes there and see where he goes. Oops, hit a bush there. I think the female is not too far from here. That other female walked off in here somewhere. And maybe he's going to look for her. Maybe he's going to find another male lion. Let's find out. Everything out here is a big mystery, and it's often very difficult to understand what's happening. There he is. And Tegan, you ask a very, very good question. You say, why do lions mark their territory? Tegan, lions mark their territory because they don't want to have other lions come into their territory. It's the same way that when you are at home, you lock your door. You know that not everybody is allowed to just walk into your house, right? And it's the same thing with the territory here. That's spraying urine there, everybody. He's having a wee on that branch. And while that's a bit disgusting as well, that's how he marks his territory. So Tegan, it's impossible. You know people are not allowed just into your house. And the same thing the lions are doing here. They're saying, this is my house. I've been here for the longest. So everybody else stay out. And of course there are no doors here. You can't have a fence or anything like that. So he marks his boundary with his urine. There's the female. Oh, now they're very tired. Lions get very, very tired, everyone, because they eat so very much. Let me just go around the other side there. I think we might get a nice view of him. Are you happy here, Ben? Probably actually better here. Let me just try and get a little bit closer to him. And Lyra, you ask a very good question. You say, why don't they attack us? Why don't these huge, fearsome animals attack us? When we're so close to them, why don't they jump on the back of the car and eat us? And, well, Lyra, you know what? They're just used to us. And it's because we're around here quite a lot that they just don't see us as something to eat. And that's why they don't eat us. If we came here on foot, remember, we're in a car now. If we came here on foot, they would be much more likely to have a bite of us. But they'd also be more likely to run away. You see how tired he is? He's so very tired. I don't know where the other male is. Apparently there were two males here. But only one male that we can see. And you can see, I bet many of you have got cats at home, and you know that your cats at home do more of sleeping than they do anything else. And it's the same with lions. I'm sure many of you know that there are 24 hours in one day. Do you know how many of those hours lions can sleep for? They can sleep for 20 hours of the day. That's a very, very long time. Hello, Abigail, you're wondering about baby lion cubs and how small they are. Well, when they're born, Abigail, they're probably about the size of half a ruler. So you've got a ruler there that's 30 centimeters long. So a baby lion cub, when it's born, is probably about 15 centimeters, which are very, very small. But then by the time they reach 6 months old, they're probably bigger than, I don't know if you guys know what a Labrador is. It's a kind of a dog, like a big dog, probably about the size of a Labrador or an Alsatian dog. That's only after 6 months, and by the time they're a year old, they're bigger than any dog you've ever met. And by the time they're 2 years old, well, then they're just enormous. They're the biggest cats that we get out here. So they grow very quickly. See the vulture? Look at the vulture! That's very special. Those are called hooded vultures, everybody, and they're waiting for the lions to leave that buffalo alone so that they can go and eat the last little bits of meat. They have to be very, very patient, or they don't eat at all. Ava, you want to know about how many cubs the lions have. Ava, it's normally 3 or 4, but sometimes it can be as many as 6. But normally, if they have 6 cubs, well, it's very unlikely that they will all survive. See how they're just going to sleep now? This is what lions do. They like to have a snooze for a long time, especially when their bellies are that full. Amy, that's a very astute question from you. Let's move with them. Amy, you say, how many bird species have I seen this morning? Amy, I don't know. I don't think I've counted, but I can go through them quickly while we move the car. We've seen hornbills and starlings, and we've seen hoopoes, and we've seen babblers, and what else have we seen? We've seen 2 or 3 species of vulture. We've seen, what else? Franklins. We've seen doves. So probably about 15 species of birds so far this morning. But there are, you know how many birds there are found here? There are over 250 birds found in this area. See, now he's so tired, he's so lazy, but he doesn't want his friend to leave. He doesn't want his girlfriend to leave, but he's too lazy to get up and follow her. So now he doesn't really know what to do. He's a very good-looking fellow, isn't he? He's a lovely-looking lion. Kira, you say Byron made an impala sound, but you didn't hear it. And you want to know what an impala sounds like. An impala, when it's very, very scared, goes... a bit like that. Liam's looking at me as though I'm mad, but it sounds a little bit like that, Kira. It's a big snort. Isn't he a lovely fellow? He's a very special lion. We're very lucky to spend some time with him. And Fatima, you're wondering about why lions eat so much. Well, they eat so much because they're so big. You know that your dad and your mum eat much more than you do, and that's because they're much bigger than you are. And this chap is more than twice the weight of your father, and so he eats much more than twice the weight that your father eats. Remember also, Fatima, they don't eat every day. Now watch him. See that? That's very special. What he's doing there is testing the air. I know it looks like he's cross, like he's growling, but he isn't. He's testing the urine that the female put there, and he's testing to see whether she wants to become a mummy lion again or not. So this is a very special thing we're seeing. See that? See how it looks like he's half smiling and half growling? And I think he's going to follow this female. Let's go and see. There she is. Oh, he's such a fat-bellied fellow. He's had so much buffalo meat to eat, he doesn't know what to do with himself. We're so lucky to have this very special sighting while you guys are with us. You know, we don't always see cheetah and lion and leopard in one drive. That's very unusual. There we go. Hello, Pia. You want to know why birds called babblers are called babblers? Well, Pia, because they babble. They make a big noise. It sounds like they're having a conversation the whole time. They go... See, the lion doesn't like my call, so I'm not going to do it again. The lioness is looking at me as though I'm mad. And Jamie, you went to Monte Casino Bird Park yesterday and you say you saw lots of birds of prey. Well, that's great. Did you see any vultures? We've got two wonderful vultures looking at us now. I wonder if you saw those vultures at the Bird of Prey Centre at Monte Casino. Those vultures, if I'm not mistaken, are called hooded vultures. We get 5 different kinds of vultures here, and that particular one is known as the hooded vulture. Here comes the lioness. She's moving again, turning around and going to sleep. Ugh, so tired. I'm just going to help somebody else get into the sighting, everybody. Ooh, look at the vultures coming in here. They're all eating something on the ground here. This is amazing. Let me move the car. I'm going to move it very slowly because the vultures might run away. I think you know what I think they're eating? I think that they're eating lion dung. I don't think there's any meat there. Yeah, they're flying off because they're just a little bit scared of the car. Huge, huge birds. So I think that they're eating lion dung. Let me just move back and see if we can't get a decent picture. Yeah, you see, we can't get any closer than this, so I'm not going to try. Let's go back to the lions. And we can have a look at this big hooded vulture over here. There we go. Now that bird, everybody, you've all seen a hardy-dar, I'm sure, in your garden. You know what a hardy-dar is? That bird's about twice the size of a hardy-dar. Huge, huge bird. And he's got a very special beak. You see his beak is very thin and it's very sharp. And that very thin, sharp beak allows him to eat the bits and pieces of meat on a buffalo carcass that no other animal can get to. Emma, you are very clever because you've just noticed something. And you've noticed something about the vultures and the way they fly. And you say it seems to you that vultures are too big to fly, and that it probably makes it a little bit difficult for them to fly being so big. Emma, they can fly very well, but what you've noticed is that they don't fly so well when they're close to the ground. It's difficult for them to take off in the same way that, you know, an aeroplane has to have a runway, it has to get some speed before it can take off. Well, vultures have a similar sort of a problem. and because they're so heavy. But once they're up, and once they're flying in the hot air, once there's hot air rising off the ground, they're brilliant flyers, and they can fly for hours and hours and hours without having to come down at all. So yes, not very good at flying like a sparrow. You've seen sparrows and starlings flying about the place, like the birds that you have in your garden. Very good at flying from branch to branch and around and quick. These chaps not so good at that, but once they get up in the air, they're really very good flyers indeed. Let's have a look at the lions again. And you can see this lioness, the female. Well, there are two things you must notice about her. The first is that she's very, very tired. She's breathing very heavily. And the second is that her face is dirty. You see that? And her face is dirty because she's been eating buffalo. So she's got blood on her on her front. Lily, interesting one from you. You want to know why lions and other cats, like your house cats, have got whiskers. Lily, we're not entirely sure, you know, but we think it's to help them feel what's going on around them. Remember, they are active mostly in the night time, and we think maybe that their whiskers help them to feel around the place when they're moving at night. I'm not sure about that, though, so I'm going to say to you, Lily, that I don't really know why they have whiskers. And I know that might be a bit strange, but you know, we just don't know everything, especially me. So we don't really know why they have whiskers. Look at the big teeth there, huge teeth. And the next time you go home, and I don't know how many of you have cats and dogs at home, but if you look in your cat or your dog's mouth, you'll find the same arrangement of teeth. These ones are just much, much bigger. But very similar kind of teeth to the ones that you have. And Khalela-sang, you want to know how much a lion eats every day. Well, it depends, you know, it depends very much on what the lion eats. So if they kill a buffalo, like they've just killed this buffalo, they probably won't eat for the next 4 days. Now, can you imagine having a supper so very big that you didn't need to eat for the next 4 days? Well, that's what these buffalo have done. At least that's what these lions have done. So they're not like us, where you have 3 meals a day and a snack for break and something like that. They only eat probably every 4 days or so. And that depends on what they kill. So these guys have killed a buffalo. If, however, they had killed something small, say, let's pretend that they'd killed an impala, which is a small antelope, well, what you'll find then is that they will have to eat again very soon, because an impala isn't a very good meal for a lion. Now, I'm going to show you something quite special, everybody. Viam, if I can ask you to come back towards the tree where the vulture was. We've got 2 kinds of vultures. Well, we've got 5, but this one is a different one. This one is a very, very rare vulture, everybody. And I know it looks probably the same to you, but it isn't. It's a special vulture called a white-headed vulture. And it doesn't have a white head yet because it's still a young one. But you can see it's got a very red beak at the end of its beak. And it is a juvenile white-headed vulture. Now, it's a huge bird, it's very uncommon, and it's probably almost endangered. And you know how tall it is? If you pick up your ruler, if you've got one close by, that is almost 3 rulers tall. So if you put 3 rulers on top of each other, that's how big that huge bird is. Look at him flying. Wonderful to see. Just beautiful. So let's just have a quick look here. I'll just show you the 2 kinds of birds. So there's the white-backed vulture, and there is the hooded vulture. See that? And this one is much smaller. That's about 2 rulers tall. This chap is about 3 rulers tall. Huge, big, white-headed vulture. Beautiful. And Eva, you want to know if vultures ever kill things for themselves. There are 2 or 3 species that can, but don't very often. So the white-backed vulture, which is the most common vulture we get here, they sometimes kill for themselves, and also the lappet-faced vulture, which is a very, very big vulture, probably, say, 3.5 rulers tall. They sometimes kill on their own. Right, I think we should go back towards that carcass where the buffalo is and see if the other lionesses are still eating there. What do you think? Because these chaps, I think, are just going to go to sleep now, and it's starting to get hot. Starting to get very hot indeed. So I'm just going to put on my sun hat. There we go. You'll hear a little bit of ruffling around with the sound. Sorry about that. But the sun hat is very necessary. You know that you have to wear a sun hat out here in the wild, because if you don't, well, you get very burned skin. All right, let's go back towards the other lions. We'll see also if we can spot some more vultures. We've had the white-backed vultures. I've definitely seen some here. Oh, and I know a lot of you are excited by birds. There's a bird called a purple roller. Isn't that nice? He was... Okay. Let's see if we can go and see what the others are doing. She's so tired and so full that she can't really sleep. So she wants to sleep, but it's very difficult for her to sleep because her tummy is so full. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever eaten so much that you can hardly sleep. But if you think of the hugest meal you've ever had, imagine that times 2. And that's what the lion's eaten, and that's how she feels. She's so tired, but she's so full that she really doesn't even know how to sleep. It's probably how some of you feel after you've been to a birthday party. That's how she feels. All right, let's quickly move along and see if we can find the other kill. My friend Byron's got another bird to show you.
So James has had so much luck with that lion kill and the vultures, and he just showed you a purple roller. This is a lilac-breasted roller. Beautiful, beautiful bird. So many different colors. They say there's about 7 different colors on that bird. 7 or 8 different colors. So we can see, what can we see? I think, why don't you, all the girls at Rodine, try and count there quickly and tell me how many colors you can see. Let me know. Tell your teachers to send in the answers and we'll see how close you get. So our bird life this morning is really great. And Amy was the one who wanted to see a lot of birds. There's been so much going on with all the big animals, the elephant and the lions feeding on a buffalo. Very exciting. Looks like this roller's got something stuck on his beak. Possibly just a little bit of sand or mud. Very, very beautiful bird. And when they fly, when they open their wings, they've got a bright, bright, bright blue color under their wings. One of my favorite birds to see. And how they get the name roller is when they fly in the sky, they sometimes have, or they do this wonderful call. It's a very loud, harsh, screeching sound. And while they do that, they then stop flapping their wings and they do loops in the air, like these little half-moon loops. And they roll him first, and he let us know. He came looking straight into this, or came into this area. There is a cub I can see that is not far behind her, just hiding in the thicket. Might be able to see it shortly. There's a little bit of movement. There we go. Look at that, everybody. There's the one cub. Fantastic. That is really, really beautiful. Oh no, this is amazing. This is my first time to see Karula and her cubs. So excited. So we're actually quite far from where they had that kill yesterday. It just shows you they can move a lot if they want to. And I think it's exactly what happened. There was no sign of that kill anywhere. I think they must have